Hey everybody, this is Jim and Paul with your weekly lineup. On Monday, starting at 9, we have Leadership with Deanna Kovic. At 10 o'clock p.m., we have Parent Radio with Jacqueline Wynn. And at 10:30, we have Two Beards Talking with Daniel and Matt.
And on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Second Amendment Talk with Daniel and Rod. At 9 p.m., What's the Story with Maria. And at 10 p.m., Rock Talk USA with Amy Shafalo.
And on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., Unscheduled with Skymo and The Dave. At 8 o'clock, we have All You Can Eat with Chef Rob Rose. 9 o'clock, we have All Aboard with Donald Wisman and his gang. And at 10 o'clock, we have Let's Talk Careers, Sarah Yusupov.
And on Thursdays at 8 p.m., Ask for Candy. And at 10 p.m., Night Talk with Joe Rocks.
And on Friday at 8 p.m., we have Pot Talk with me and Paul. And at 9 o'clock, we have All Aboard with Donald Wisman and his gang. 10 o'clock, we have Betrayal with Casey Spears. That's your weekly lineup. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.
The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, UNU Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Live from Carlisle, Ohio, this is Unscheduled with Skymo and The Dave from Carlisle, Ohio, home of Armed Radio. I want to thank all our military that's scattered out all over the world. I appreciate you. We love you. We're praying for you and for your families. And want to thank the doctors and nurses, all the first responders, and went up to Wright Pat the other day and got my checkup. I want to give a special holler to the 88th Medical Group up there. It's been taking care of me for, gosh, Dave, 30 years. And God bless them. They're so good to me up there, and you know they treat me like a they really treat me good. So shout out to the 88th Medical Group up there, and my friend Bob. Bob, I appreciate it. Over the years, he's been there he retired Air Force and come back to work there, and is a nurse up there, and he's just a wonderful person. So thank you to all you first responders. Everything. Well, Dave, here we go, brother. Nancy Pelosi's on the warpath. She got caught at the hair salon. She got caught there. She thought she'd slip one in. Apparently, that wasn't her first trip, but this is the first one she got caught. And typical Democrat, she blames it on the owner. They set this up one at a time. I was set up.
Shouldn't have let her in there, should they?
They shouldn't have let her in there, Dave.
Yeah.
You know,
It's their fault.
It's their fault. And wanting an apology from the owner. And when the owner of the salon found out that somebody had brought her in there and give her a hairdo, the owner said she was furious when she found that out, because there ain't nobody allowed to get no haircuts or nothing like that. Barbershops, beauty salons, that brain-dead governor still got that place shut down. I watched the video today, David. It was unbelievable. A pastor of a Baptist church up there, I can't think of Santa, whatever it was anyway, they had been fined over $50,000 for having church and singing in church. And, he's going to fight it. He's standing his ground. This is an abomination, Dave. Totally unconstitutional what they're doing to this church. And also in California, I seen on there, a state senator has introduced a bill to not quite, but almost. It gives the judge a lot of discretion when it comes to pedophiles, whether to put them on the sexual predator list or not. But anyway, it goes a lot deeper than that, and it was an open homosexual that introduced the bill. But some say it just virtually legalizes pedophilia to kids that's 10 years old and up. And I tell you what, it's I've glanced through it and didn't print it off or anything, but it's sickening,
Are they
Dave.
associated with NAMBLA?
I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it one bit. And this stuff is, and we've seen this coming for a long time, Dave, where society's been groomed for pedophilia. You know, this has been coming for a long time, and you can see it. And it's in the cartoons, Disney cartoons, everywhere you look. You see this filth, this grooming our young children. So, folks, you got to monitor what your kids watch, what they listen to. You better pay attention. And the schools is doing enough damage, let alone with all this other nonsense. And but I tell you what, did you see that speech, Dave, that President Trump up in Kenosha, Wisconsin?
I think I saw some of it. I don't think I saw all of it.
Yeah, 15 miles from Air Force One to where he went and seen the police officers. They tore the city, the damage, all the burned out places. He toured that. 15 miles of Trump supporters. They said the whole way, in just 15 miles. And there was some anti-Trumpers there, but it was like probably 95-5 in favor of Trump supporters. But there was a solid 15 miles of Trump supporters. And then I hear these stupid polls again today. And
Fox poll had Trump dropping in every state.
Yeah, you believe this? This is
it's bizarre.
It can't be, David. It just can't be. You know.
I don't know who they're talking to.
I don't know either. As this thing gets closer, though, these polls are going to tighten up because they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be that wrong. But they were so wrong in 2016, and it's the same thing, Dave. It's the same bunch of nonsense by the same bunch of people. And but now during that speech there at Kenosha, Wisconsin, he took Attorney General Barr with him. I tell you what, so far I'm a big fan of Attorney General Barr. And he told him, he said, hey, you know, we're looking into this, and we're looking into where the money's coming from, who's funding Antifa, and he didn't say Black Lives Matter, I don't think, but you can bet he's got his sights on them too, also, Dave, because. Let's see, how many, it was 100 people, 100 and something maybe it was arrested.
Out of state.
Well, there's 100 of them that was from out of state. I've seen pictures. I seen a picture on Facebook where a trucker had pulled into a truck stop, and there was 6 or 8 buses with Black Lives Matter on the side of them parked in that truck stop that had armed guards on them. And so, you know, yeah, no doubt the DNC, there's money involved in it. Kamala Harris, she's raising money to bail these people out. And on her Twitter, she got 5 million plus Twitter followers. and she asked them to donate money to bail out the protesters that's arrested in these riots. And
Well, they don't need the money. The district attorneys in these cities aren't even holding them.
no,
They're letting them go in Portland. That's a problem. That
right.
the feds come in there and they don't much like arresting people and having them back out on the street.
Well, in that one city, I forget exactly where it's at. They sidestepped that prosecutor. That's in Portland. They finally sidestepped that prosecutor. Everything is federal nowadays. When they break the law in Portland, and they explained how they done it. I heard how they done it, but it's they went around that prosecutor and that idiot mayor. They tried to burn his apartment building down, which and this idiot. What's his name? You don't remember what his name was?
Was it Ted something?
Ted Williamson.
Yeah.
Ted Wheeler.
Ted Wheeler, that's it. Thank you, Jimmy. Ted Wheeler. And you remember when he went out there to rub elbows with them and he gives a little speech, then they turn on him, they want him to resign, and then he gets tear gassed, and then when he goes home, here just the other night, I don't think they made a real effort to burn the place down, because I think they could have done it if they really wanted to. I think they wanted to scare him, but that ought to show these dumb mayors that and these governors, these people, they're Marxists, Dave. They don't want no peace. They want just whatever. They're getting paid good money to go out here and destroy these cities. This one idiot was caught with a flamethrower, and come to find out they just released him somewhere else. May have been in the same city, but he'd been arrested and let go 2 or 3 times. And here's what I'm afraid of, Dave. Now, when he went into Kenosha, Georgia, Wisconsin, people, man, I tell you, it was a celebration. People really wanted him there, and he was told by mainly Democrats, "Oh, don't go, blah, blah, blah." And you know why they didn't want him to go, because they didn't want the media to see how many people actually supported him in that part of Wisconsin. Okay. And, this thing has went on for over 100 days, and Portland is what I'm worried about, Dave, is if President Trump don't step in there pretty soon, that not only are the residents going to be mad at Trump, but they're mad at everybody. I'm afraid they might turn on President Trump for not doing what he did in Kenosha, how you pronounce it, Wisconsin. And I think there's a fine line there now, Dave. It's been so long that them residents has been exposed to this nonsense, and these the mayor, that idiot. What's he thinking, Dave? Is the man demon possessed, or what? Can you explain that? Why a person does what he does?
I guess they've just been raised a liberal all their life, and anything the liberals say, they want to do it. They want to please them, try to keep them in, I don't know, stay in the good graces of liberalism or progressivism, whatever they want to call it. But there is a right and wrong. I mean, common sense. Most people, they just have common sense. They don't look at conservative, liberal, progressive, Republican, Democrat. They don't look that way. They don't have that type of. They just look at things and judge them for what they are. They're either good or bad. Now, if you go burning buildings down and you're claiming it's a peaceful demonstration, people look at that and they shake their heads and say, "I don't think that's peaceful. It doesn't look peaceful to me if you're burning buildings down and looting and shooting and killing and stealing, and the Bible says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I think John 10:10, and Jesus said, "I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly." Now this is just the opposite. And anybody with half a brain can look at what's going on in these cities, and they know for a fact that it's not right. It's not right to burn people's businesses down, steal their stuff, and then burn a building down. They know it's not right. So all this explaining this peaceful, almost peaceful, mostly peaceful demonstrations, that just doesn't cut it. Mostly, it's like it's bizarre, is what it is. People look at it and say, "What? Mostly peaceful? It doesn't look at all peaceful to me." It's just plain nutty. And I think anybody with any common sense that sees what's going on throughout the country, they're going to vote for Trump. And that's why Joe Biden came out of his basement. He's scared to death that this violence is overtaking the country, and he's going to get blamed for it because he hasn't talked about it. The Democrats haven't said a word about it since all of it began 3 months ago.
Ain't said one word about that, or the dead cops, or the people that's been beat up. I watched a video yesterday where this young black man snuck up on this white guy crossing the street, and he bashed him in the back of the head with a rock. This stuff, Dave, I tell you what, it needs to be brought to an abrupt halt. Harris, among those bailed out by the Minnesota Freedom Fund is a suspect who shot at police, a woman accused of killing a friend, and a twice convicted sex offender. The murderers. Now she's bailing murderers out. According to the court records reviewed by Fox investigators, according to attempted murder charges, jailed. Let's see. Man, I'm gonna have to go to my glasses on that. Jabel Stallings shot at members of a SWAT team during a riot in May. Police recovered a modified pistol. It looks like an AK-47. MMF paid $75,000 in cash to Stallings. That's what it is, to get Stallings out of jail. This Darinka Floyd is charged with second-degree murder for stabbing a friend to death. Wasn't much of a friend, was he? MMF paid $100,000 cash for her release. Christopher Boswell, a twice convicted rapist, is currently charged with kidnapping, assault, and sexual assault in 2 separate cases. MMF paid $350,000 in cash for his release. And it goes on. And Kamala Harris is involved in this. Okay, for you Democrats, your Democratic vice presidential candidate, okay, that her family had over 200 slaves and had 5 sugarcane plantations in Jamaica, is now bailing out murderers, rapists, all manner of thugs. Is that okay with you all? Is that what attracts you to these candidates? Is their lawlessness, their evil intentions, the evil that they do? Call me Democrat, 1-800-508-5431. If you're a Democrat, call me and tell me, is this what draws you to the Democratic Party, or is it the 70,000 babies that's murdered since Roe v. Wade?
I don't think it's that.
What is it, then?
I actually, what I think is going on, and I think at election time you're going to find this out, the old-time Democrats, they don't go along with this stuff. And I think that the Republican Party's become the party of the working class people, and I think they're switching roles here. And I don't think the old time Democrats, these Rust Belt cities up in the north and Wisconsin and Michigan and Minnesota and even Pennsylvania, I don't think you're seeing these people go wildly for these new style Democrats like AOC and all these new style Democrats. That's not where they're. I don't think they're going to vote for them, especially ones that are over 40, 45, 50 years old. All that age group, I don't think they're going to vote for these Democrats. I don't think that Biden's going to win the election with those kind of Democrats. I think, remember back in the 80s, you had the Reagan Democrats. Well, I think the Trump Democrats are going to be the big story in this election. I think that you're going to see a big change in the Democrat Party. You've already seen it in the Republican Party. I mean, the ones that Republicans are much different than they were 10 years ago. They're not anywhere near the same party. And it's Trump's party now, and Trump's changed the whole deal. Matter of fact, Trump has gone in a direction that I wish that George Bush would have gone through years ago. I saw it back then. I said it's a waste of time getting involved in the Middle East because you're never going to change those people. And I don't care how many wars you have over there or how long you stay there, it's never going to change. And it's time that people wake up and smell the coffee. That you can stay in Afghanistan for 50 years, I don't care, 100 years, 2,000 years, and it's never going to change. It's always going to be that way. These factions have been warring for hundreds of years, and you're not going to go in there and expect. We've been there 19 years. It's coming up on 19 years. At the end of this month, at the end of this month, the end of September is when they first went over there. It was after 9/11 in 2001. It's been 19 years we've been in Afghanistan. Have we accomplished anything? They're still growing. They're still growing poppy heroines.
Yeah.
Heroin poppy. They're still making their heroin out of the poppy fields. I mean, nothing's changed. You still got the warlords. You still got everything. And the same thing in Iraq. You haven't changed anything there. You haven't changed anything in Iran. All those countries are still basically the same as they were before we started. And we spent $3 or $4 trillion, lost tens of thousands of people and with casualties, with war injury, with vicious injuries, blown their legs off and arms. For what? We haven't accomplished a thing. And Trump's right about that. And George Bush never got it through his head that you can't change these people. Now, it's one thing to retaliate for 9/11, but you're not going to go in there and, with a full-blown war in Iraq or Afghanistan and ever change those people's view. Once when you leave, they're going to go right back to business as usual. They're going to have their own terrorists running the whole terror camps all over the place. And the only way you're going to stop it is to send bombers over there and bomb them. Don't send troops over there. Just bomb them. And then when they get out of control, bomb them again. Every time they spring up, just like weed killer, you bomb them. Except you're using bombs instead of weed killer. But these people are never going to change. I don't care who the president is and what his thoughts are. These people are never going to change. And it's not for the United States to be the policeman of the world. That's got to stop. We can't afford it. Matter of fact, we're already broke. If you look at it, we owe $25 trillion. Plus, I don't even know unfunded liabilities that we owe money for. It's Social Security, Medicare. It's
off the chart.
It's probably $100 trillion, and we'll never pay it. But this has got to change, and Trump's the one to change it, and we're never going back to that. And these anti-Trumpers that are out there, the former Republicans, like Jeb Bush and all these other people are Kasich, they can have run anti-Trump ads all they want, but it's never going to change the people that are committed to Trump, because it's not about Trump. It's about his ideas. It's about his policies. It's not about him. It's about his ideas and his policies. That's why people follow him. That's why we vote for him. That's why we're so adamant against those who are against him, because We know who he is, and we know what he wants to do, and it's what we want to do.
It's simple, Dave. America first, brother.
Right.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
You've got these old establishment Republicans, the Bushes, the Cheneys, and
neocons. They want to go back.
Yeah.
They want to do war.
And the Middle East, the tribalism, the religion. The religion is the root of the problem over there. And that's why that there's nothing going to change over there, David, because they're never going to denounce Allah.
Nope.
Okay. Look what's behind Allah.
Devil.
At the ideology. Exactly.
It's pure devil.
It's pure devil. When you can rip children away from other families and sell them, 8, 9, 10-year-old girls.
Or strap a bomb on your kid and send them out in a crowd and
right.
detonate themselves.
Yeah, right.
Think about that for a second.
And the family get paid for it.
Does that sound like anything to do with God?
Ain't
That you
no
ever
love
thought about?
there,
You ever thought about how God is love, and there is no love in strapping a bomb on your child's body and sending them out in a crowd and detonating themselves and killing a bunch of people and thinking that you're going to go to heaven and your family's going to heaven for killing a bunch of infidels. That's crazy talk. I don't care who out there might be Islamic. I don't know if you are or not, but you better get right with God, because what you're thinking, what you're preaching, and what you're teaching is wrong. So there is a right and a wrong. And common sense tells you don't kill your kids. You don't strap a bomb on them and send them out in a crowd and detonate themselves. You don't do that kind of stuff. It sounds wrong. Just
on the face.
Anybody that doesn't know anything about any religion was going to say, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
But the Democratic Party, they don't have guts enough to say that to Islam. Right. Why is it that Islamic people are primarily Democrats? Have you ever wondered about that?
Yeah.
Why? It's because they got the same father.
Same father, brother.
That's
Satan
right.
is
They're all related. They're all cousins.
And you believe a lie and be damned. And it's amazing to me, Dave, how you can mutilate your brain to believe some of the stuff people believe. But when you reject, there is absolute truth, David. There is absolute right and wrong. Okay, and that's what causes this, is the rejection of that absolute truth.
I want to tell you something real quick while I'm thinking about it, Lester. If you don't have core beliefs, you will believe anything. If you believe, you have deep down in your soul and your spirit and your body, and you have in your core a right and a wrong. Nobody is ever going to teach you to not believe what you know to be right and true. If you know Jesus Christ, you know the truth. I don't care what anybody says to you that's anti-Christ. You will know, the real thing. You know the genuine thing. And if you know the genuine thing, you know the truth. And if you know the truth, nobody's going to come along with a crock of this stuff and try to sell you on something else that's not real. And you're not going to fall for it because you know the truth. And nothing is ever going to change that. And these people that have no core beliefs, they're anti-Trumpers. Trump has done every single thing that they ever wanted as far as policy goes, and they're still anti-Trump. Why is that? Why would you vote for Joe Biden? Why would you do that? There's no reason for that. You wouldn't vote for Joe Biden because he doesn't have your core beliefs. He's a Catholic, but yet he's pro-abortion. Why would you vote for somebody that has no core beliefs themselves? He has no core beliefs. He won't even believe in it. Take up for his own church, the Catholic Church. He was denied communion, and I don't blame the priest for denying him communion because he's not a Catholic, because he's pro-choice. It's as simple as that. He's pro-death. He wants to kill every kid possible, or every woman that wants to kill their kid. He wants to give them the right to do it.
The ones who don't molest.
Exactly. And this guy. I wonder about people like Jeb Bush and all the Bush family, all the former governor, what's his name? Casey.
What is your core beliefs?
Why in the world do they believe that? Why do they want to vote for somebody that doesn't have any of their doesn't want to practice any of their policies that they've preached for 20, 30, 40 years? Why do they want to turn away from that? It's sickening. I won't
understand.
change. I won't
No,
change. I guarantee you I won't change. I'll be like this until the day I die.
Absolutely, because you know it's right, David. You know it's right. And,
I know it's right.
you know, it's just unbelievable. The problem is their core beliefs, their core values is misguided, and they're for sale. They didn't have them to start with.
No, they couldn't have.
You know, they was just words. They was just, when they do that, it looks to me like their whole political career was a sham.
It was. And
It was a lie.
You're right. They're just doing it for money. That's,
right.
that's the only thing they're doing it for.
Right.
It's like a preacher just becomes a preacher because they want to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You become a preacher because you're called into the ministry.
Right.
The money is, you need money, true, but you don't do it for the money.
Right.
You do it because God called you and God gives you a message to give to the people, and you do it because it's what you're called to do.
And you know it.
And you just don't do it for the money.
Right.
And these politicians, they're anti-Trumpers that have been Republicans for years. That just leads me to believe that they're doing it for money and fame.
I believe at some point, Dave, and if you look at the establishment Republican, and maybe you can answer this for me, with all the opposition against President Trump, with all the accusations, with all the venom, brother, they've thrown everything. They've thrown stuff at him, Dave, that no other man could withstand. And look at what he's got accomplished. Now, there's what kind of reason would you give that the rest of the former presidents, Republican presidents especially, why couldn't they do what President Trump has done?
Let me ask
Do you have an answer?
No, I don't. Let me ask this question, folks. Think about this for a second. When those folks were leaving last Thursday night from the White House, elderly people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, walking down the street, and these young punks come up to them and with both hands are giving them the finger and getting in their face and spitting in their face and screaming at them. Is that right? Is that something you'd be proud of to have your child do to somebody elderly? Is that something that's just right? Is there anything right about that? Do you ever see Republicans get in Democrats' face after a meeting and do something like that? It just doesn't happen. It only goes one way. And that one way is it's always the Antifa types or the Democrats that get in the Republicans' face. Why do they hate us so bad? I'll tell you why they hate us. It's because what we think. And they hate us because what we do. We're anti-abortion. We're anti-war. And who's the author of all this stuff?
Make billions off the war machine.
Who's the author of all this stuff? It's the devil.
Pure old devil.
Who wants to get people fighting? It's a devil.
Division. Keep all the division.
Always wants to be the accuser of the brethren.
Yeah.
Now I can imagine the devil getting up in your face and screaming at you, spitting on you, but I can't imagine anybody good doing that. Now why do they do that?
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that their belief is so strong it forces them to do that. We don't do that.
No.
I mean, I have strong beliefs, but I wouldn't dare get in somebody's face and give them the finger and spit on them and cuss at them and use the F word. I wouldn't do that. There's no way I would do something like that, and I wouldn't want one of my kids to do something like that.
Right.
If they did, I'll tell you what, I'd cut them off right there. I'd say, until you apologize to that person, I'm not speaking to you again.
That's after I tore their hind end up.
Mine are too old to whip, but
no.
There's a right and a wrong, and people wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah.
There is a right and a wrong, and where this country's going down, it's going to make a choice.
It'll take a move of God, brother.
This fall, there's going to be a choice. It's either going to go the way of Joe Biden and the Democrats, and the country is going to go downhill. I guarantee it. If you have stocks in the stock market, if you see that Biden's going to win, you better sell them and buy metal, because that's the only thing that's going to be worth anything. Your 401k is going to go. Trump's not lying when he says this. Your 401k is going to go down the tubes if Biden gets elected. I guarantee
that
it.
ain't no scare tactic,
That's not.
That's a fact.
That is a fact. Did you see what happened when Trump got elected? The stock market took off and it never looked back until this COVID thing happened. And now it's recovered.
Still setting records.
Yeah, now today it set a record. Now, this record, this is amazing considering that we're coming out of the COVID-19 scare, and and the stock market's climbing. Sky's the limit. But I'll tell you, if Trump gets defeated, you kiss your 401 goodbye, because the stocks aren't going to be worth anything. They're going to take a nosedive. If Biden gets, and I got a sneaky suspicion, you know what they're planning on doing with Biden, is that they want mail-in voting because they can get as much votes they can as they want to in a close election. They can say, "Oh, look, we found all these ballots, and they're all just happen to be for Biden."
Right.
And they was in the trunk of a car. I've seen that before.
Oh yeah.
And they can bring truckloads in until they get enough to win.
That's why they want to extend the date to count the ballots.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing too. A Democratic candidate. Now, folks, you got to bear with me. I can't get all this in one show, but just come to me. A Democrat candidate refused to debate his Republican counterpart. You remember who that was? Was that in New Mexico?
I heard something about it, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. Well, and my question is, and Rush brought this up today.
Yeah, I heard that.
Is this going to be the forerunner of the Democrats refusing to debate the Republicans? Is this going to be the foundation to where they get Joe out of these debates?
Could be.
If one right after another, they lie too much, you can't trust what they say, blah, 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 I'm not going to debate them. They're going to set themselves up on a pedestal like they're too good to debate these Republicans because they lie too much. And they're doing that with Trump right now. And is that the avenue they're going to go to get Biden out of these debates? Or is Joe Biden going to come down with a case of COVID-19 asymptomatic? He's not contagious, but he's got it. But now he can debate you on the computer as 10 or 15 over here with flashcards write stuff down and feed him their answers. It's going to be one or the other, David, because I have to see it. What we got, what is that, the 29th of this month, the 25th, the first debate, somewhere in that avenue. I have to see the debate to believe it. Because there's something, they're trying to figure out a somehow to get him out of these debates.
I think they are too.
Pelosi done said it herself.
Yeah, I think I think it's the worst thing that could happen to them is him debate Trump because he's not very fast on his feet, and he gets confused reading the teleprompter.
Really easy, yeah.
He's reading a teleprompter and he goes 100 years. We haven't had so many number of COVID deaths 100 years. Mm-hmm. He's off.
Yeah,
I don't know where he's at. His mind is just
he don't know where
he's off. I mean, he's just off in a dream world someplace.
It's senior citizens abuse, Dave. He's not wanting to run for president.
Chris Wallace is the first one to host the debate.
Oh, you believe
for Fox
that?
News?
Yeah,
and he's a Democrat.
Yeah,
he'll help Biden out as much as he can. Because Chris Wallace, I tell you, he's a Democrat. He don't like Trump.
He's either that,
he don't like Trump,
or he might still be PO'd because Joe Biden wouldn't give him an interview. But I look for him to carry water for the Democrats. He does that every day on his show.
I think so. I don't watch it anymore.
Every Sunday. I don't watch it anymore.
I used to watch it, but I don't watch it anymore.
I see Donna
Bobo Brazil's sister.
On there.
That's Bobo Brazil's sister.
Yeah, it is.
Bobo's sister.
That's Bobo's sister. I turn her. I can't stand that line. How
about Juan Williams? I know you like him. Lion Juan Williams.
How can you,
Lion Juan Williams?
How can you get a job that pays you, David, to be that stupid. Only on Fox.
He's not that stupid though, Les.
He believes what he's saying,
Oh,
Dave.
he's lying. He knows he's lying.
You think so?
Oh yeah, he knows he's lying.
I think he knows I think he
he's
believes
lying.
that crap.
He says it.
Yeah.
See, he gets the talking points. They send him every morning. The Democrat Party for all the people that's on TV. All the people. That's how they always say the same things. They send their talking points every morning to all the Democrats who are going to be on TV that day, and that's why they all got the same message. They all say the same thing
across the board.
Yeah, exactly. They all know the talking points. They got a page that comes out just like that, and it's got their talking points on it. And they just read it verbatim. They just whatever the person asks, they know how to answer the question because they got their talking points. But they're stupid, and he knows it.
I don't know. Dave, I just kind of think he's stupid enough to believe that. Now, CNN, MSNBC.
No, he makes goofy. You know how he acts and makes goofy faces.
Oh yeah.
See, he goes.
Yeah.
Like he's shocked or surprised. He's not. Yeah. He's just doing that. He knows it's wrong.
Well, he's got me fooled, Dave. I believe the idiot believes it. Now, CNN and all the rest of the left wing, they know they're lying. They know they're pushing propaganda.
They do. They're not stupid.
They know what they're trying to do. But Juan Williams, I don't know. It just,
How about that Marie Harth, the one that's good, like that, the goofy blonde with the big glasses?
Oh my God,
she's from Ohio.
Yeah, is she?
Yeah, she's goofy.
Got to be up from around.
I think she's overdosed on the Kool-Aid though.
Yeah.
She's really. I think she is a true believer.
Well, that one chick drug old Chris Wallace through the mud the other day, that little liberal girl, and he couldn't do a thing with her. And he just backed up more or less after a little bit and let her just puke all that nonsense out. He
wanted that to come out. He don't care about that. If that's a Republican, he might get angry. See, you see, he kind of smirked and smiled. He just kind of go for it. Go for it. Get your message out. I'm pro Biden anyway.
And I can't remember why I watched that particular thing, but normally I'll turn it when he comes on. He makes me so mad. Now, his dad was a big-time
60
liberal.
Minutes.
Yeah, but he wasn't as sickening as Chris Wallace is. Chris Wallace is like he tries to hide it. He's like he's like a woman that walks around and her slips hanging, and you can see it. He tries to hide it, but you can still see his bias slips hanging out.
Well, the best time for Fox News was when they first started, and Tony Snow was the host of Fox News Sunday.
He's from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I know.
Now, I love Tony Snow, Dave.
He was a good guy, and he was the host of Fox News Sunday, but
it's back in the day.
Then he took the job of press secretary for Bush.
Mm-hmm.
After 9/11, that happened.
That was a shame. He died from colon cancer. I'll tell you what, now folks, just because all this nonsense is going on from the Democrats and this investigation, and I don't know if the big October surprise is going to come out or not, Dave.
I think Trump's got one. Just a couple of them. Here, I'll tell you what Trump's going to do. He's going to bring in about 3 or 4 countries over in the Middle East. They're going to sign a peace treaty. It's going to be probably Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and could be Sudan. Could be maybe one of the Qatar, one of the other all the Gulf states, and maybe Sudan. I think he's going to bring in 4 or 5 maybe states and sign a peace treaty with Israel. And you will see that at White House signing sometime in October, maybe September, maybe this month. But I think that's what you're going to see Trump do, and that's going to give him a bump in the polls. And another thing I think you're going to see is a vaccine announced in October. And I think that's going to be another October surprise. And I think they may start actually giving that out in November or December. So I think they're going to probably announce it in October. And then maybe as early as November or December, they're going to start giving the injections, vaccines out.
It's in the final stages.
Well, they got several of them. There's one over in England that's AstraZeneca is one drug company, and there's all the major drug companies are involved in manufacturing. I think there's like more than a dozen on track to have some type of vaccine. Yeah, there's quite a few. So one of them ought to be right. And then see what Trump did. He ordered the production before it goes into
took all them regulations
in third phase. And here's what he did. He started production of the vaccine, even though it hasn't been approved and it's in third phase study. So they're actually, all these companies are manufacturing the vaccine as we speak. It's being manufactured and bottled.
Yeah.
All the medication, all the vaccines are. And so that when the final third stage trials are over, and if they prove to be successful and they develop antibodies, then they'll be ready to go on the market with it and distribution and everything. Mm-hmm. So it cost a lot of money to do that, but Trump did it. It was billions of dollars for all these drug companies to do that. So, but if they don't work out, what they're going to do is destroy them all. So, but I think that some of them, maybe all of them, are going to work out.
Well, see, that's one thing that drives the medicine up so high is development and research.
All these companies running commercials against Trump.
Yeah.
You've seen them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It scares us. They go, it's scary that we're going to be like the other countries, and it's going to stop production of experimental drugs and all this stuff. The research is going to be slowed by, hindering us. See, what happens is the United States are patsies. We are paying the price.
Yeah.
We are paying the price for all these drugs and the research and development. We're paying the price, America. They go, the world say, the Americans, they can afford it. They got all kinds of money. Right. Let them afford it. So what happens is the drug companies sell their drugs in Europe, Asia, and South America, and Canada dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And we pay the cost. We pay the freight for the R&D. They're making so much money off of us, it's not funny.
That's for sure, Dave.
It's crazy. They're making crazy amount of money, and they don't want to see the gravy train go away.
Right.
And that's exactly what Trump did.
Right.
I tell you, if you're smart and you want to look at somebody that's looking out for the little guy, it's Trump. It's not Biden.
Amen.
Biden's son's getting $1.5 billion from the Chinese. Yeah. He's getting paid, and that's why it wasn't until recently Biden said anything bad about China, because he was on the gravy train with his son.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You remember that when Joe and his son got off the plane in Beijing, and he had the meeting with they separated and they went their separate ways. And Joe's son, Hunter, went to make deals with the Chinese.
Right. Right.
$1.5 billion deal.
Right. Yeah. And if you got 1 hour, I think you said, if you're not prosecutor ain't fired, you don't get the $1 billion. It's it's going to be the same old thing. Here's the thing, and Sleepy Joe done said this. He said, and I seen it in one of this Trump commercial right out of his own mouth. I said, if you're like me, I'm going to raise your taxes $400 billion.
He will.
Who is that? He's raising taxes. It's the small business people.
Right.
That's who's going, and then that flows right on down. He's going to, on top of the COVID, David.
How many guys you ever worked for, Les, that's pushing a shopping cart around with all their with their blanket and their tent and all that stuff in it? Have you ever worked for a guy like that?
Yeah.
Whether it's pushing a shopping cart around? Right. Have you ever worked for somebody like that?
Yeah.
No, you've worked for small business guys. Yeah. And I've worked for small businesses, all kinds of small businesses. Sure. And that's
the backbone of America.
You're exactly right. They hire more people than the big businesses.
That's right. And that's who he wants to raise all the taxes on. And on top of this COVID, he just grind his heel on them and just grind them on down into the ground. Mm-hmm. And that tax money flows down to me and you, David, because they have to raise their prices if they can stay in business.
Right.
And not only that, you know as well as I do, the Democrats are notorious for over-regulating. They put so many regulations on everything right down to a minnow to where they destroyed the farmers in California that had big, luscious, cabbage farms and all kinds of farms, and where they was had the piping their water in, and the Democrats shut that off, and their farmers just dried up. Everything they had, they lost everything they had.
But Les, the thing that amazes me about California is that they're so environmentally crazy. They're so crazy about trying to save all these little snail darts and all these little bitty animals, and they won't let them build a dam. Do you know how many millions of gallons of fresh water, which, if you've ever been to California, Southern California is basically an irrigated desert.
Uh-huh.
It basically is. If you don't have irrigation, it's a desert. It doesn't rain there very often. But California, they let all the fresh water go into the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of storing it up, building big reservoirs and storing it, they let it go into the ocean.
Yeah.
And then they ain't got no water. Then
Right.
they got droughts and there ain't no water. And then they tell you can't water your grass. You know what the latest thing is? They won't let them. They're rolling blackouts. The power's going off. You know why? Because they won't build any power plants. You know why? Because they're natural gas operated power plants. They want to try to get their energy from windmills and from solar. There ain't enough land. I got news for them. There ain't enough land to do that with.
Right.
It just ain't going to happen.
And so anyway.
So they won't use nuclear.
Right.
And they won't use natural gas, which is clean burning.
Mm-hmm.
They won't use that. They'd rather go rolling blackouts.
Right.
And you know what?
Right.
Joe Biden wants to bring that to the entire United States.
He does,
So you want to see Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, all these different states in the Midwest.
West Virginia.
They're going to be rolling blackouts here.
Well, they want to stop all the coal mining, David. They're going to stop all the mining.
Well, you seen what
Obama
Obama did to the Hutchings Power Plant down there in Miamisburg, the big coal plant,
Mm-hmm.
coal-fired plant.
Right.
It's shut down. It's shut down because all the coal-fired plants. It could have switched over to natural gas, but they didn't. They just shut them down.
Yeah, right. And you can go all along the Ohio River and the length and the breadth of the Ohio River and see how many power plants have been shut down because of this environmental wacko bullcrap.
Yeah.
So, folks, I'm telling you, if you want to destroy America, vote for your Democrats. Hey, this is Les Skymo and The Dave on Armed Radio. And we got enough for a short phone call, 1-800-508-5431. Or you can download the TuneIn app. You can go on to Armed Radio and listen to the show live. Or you can go on Armed Radio Group News and the whole lineup there on Facebook. Armed Radio Group News on Facebook. And there's a lineup. Click on one of them. Listen to the replays. Dave, real quick, we got a few minutes here. The Justice Department is not just sitting idle. And I tell you that Barr, he's cracked the whip on him, brother. Over 2,000 illegal alien fugitives have been arrested across the United States. In August, according to Immigration and Customs, the ICE, the agents, arrested more than 2,000 illegals and aliens who were on ICE's wanted list. Around 85% of those arrested already had criminal convictions and or pending criminal charges. These convictions, there's 388 convictions of assault, 291 convictions of domestic violence, 136 convictions for neglect or cruelty toward a family member, and it gets worse. 83 convictions of sex crimes, including rape, 71 convictions of sex crimes against children, 29 convictions of hit and runs, 23 convictions for harassment, 29 convictions for robbery, 14 convictions of homicide, 12 convictions for contributing to the delinquency of a minor, 11 convictions for identity theft. That's your DACA kids, David. That's your DACA kids that Obama brought in here. And it goes on and on and on. And let's see, I should have marked it on here. How many in the past year they've got? Let's see, ICE agents in the last fiscal year arrested illegal aliens with more than 1,900 convictions, 1,800 kidnappings, 2,000 sex crimes. There was 250,000, and where they get all this at, over 250,000 of illegals were deported all year last year. And this was part of that group. 5,000 sexual assaults, 45,000 assaults, 67,000 drug crimes, 10,000 weapons violations, 74,000 DUIs, and it goes on and on and on. And so things just ain't sitting there boiling. And I want to thank also law enforcement, David. There was 25 missing kids that has been found. The last time, this was in Ohio, and I think that number is way on up there here lately. And about 1/4 of those cases were related to human trafficking and prostitution. And it's like 129 or 130 kids in Georgia and different parts of the South that the federal marshals and local law enforcement have rounded up in a sting operation. Man, I can't remember how many prosecutions. I don't know. I hate to even say the number because I don't think right here.
1 minute.
About 1 minute, Dave. And let's see here. In Georgia, there was 39 juveniles. I'll have more on this the next show. But anyway, folks, well, thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Dave, you got any last few seconds to say anything?
From Dan Quill to Joe Biden, remember, it's a terrible thing to lose your mind.
It's a terrible thing to lose your mind. And you can spell potato with or without an E on it.
Yes, you can.
All right. Hey, take us on out, Jimmy. God bless y'all. Thank you, folks. We'll see you next time on Unscheduled.
The 22-year-old virgin is in the house.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Revolution, gun control the sound of soul. Shooting rockets to the moon, kids growing up too soon. Politicians say more taxes will solve everything. And the band played on.